Hello BookTube. Today I'm also going to be doing the spoiler tag. This tag was created many years ago by Scott of Gunpowder Fiction and Plot, and I was kindly tagged just recently by Andy of Really Random Reads. So I have links to both channels in the show notes down below. This tag has made the rounds recently, and I think it made the rounds a few years ago. I don't remember if I've done this tag before, but whether or not I have, I'm going to do it today anyway. What do you consider a spoiler? Now, referring exclusively to fiction, I think a spoiler is any information on the plot and its progression and its ultimate destination from the later half of the book, as well as important character development. I think those work as spoilers. As far as nonfiction is concerned, I think the idea of spoilers is a bit more difficult to grasp. And the same is also true of, say, poetry. Drama, I think, is similar to fiction in that it can be spoiled. So roughly the same sort of plot information from the later half of the book or story play, and the important character developments. Does the genre you're reading impact what you consider to be a spoiler? Of course. A lot of this discussion around spoilers tend to center on fiction and drama, as well as television and movies. Not so much, say, nonfiction, where I think maybe some genres of nonfiction can be spoiled, but not many. Do you research books before reading them, or do you prefer to go in blind? I really should research books before I buy them or read them, but I don't. I usually go in blind, and that explains why I bail so heavily. Has an introduction, translator's note, or preface ever spoiled a book for you? I don't read the introductions or translator's notes or prefaces on fiction. Not even when I was in college. I tended to avoid it. Although when it comes to critical and interpretive analysis of a book, the expectations that the author of the paper, the interpretation, introduction, whatever, is going to adhere to no spoilers should be thrown right out the window. There will be spoilers, and just deal with it. Name a time someone spoiled a novel for you. I don't recall a time. I don't think anyone has ever spoiled a novel for me. If spoilers ruin novels, are there some authors or genres you can't reread? So not so much for me, because the one genre I think where, like, being spoiled would ruin a book and you really can't reread would be mysteries. Because a whole lot of it is whodunit. But for me, I found that while the story itself is known, like I know who did it, but there are other things that you can look for. Particularly in my most recent sort of period with Agatha Christie, I focused a lot more on the character interactions and relationships, and how Hercule Poirot and Miss Marple half the time seem to be as interested in matchmaking as they are in finding out who the murderer is. When reviewing are you spoiler free? So far, all of my reviews that I have done in print for open letters have been for nonfiction, so there's not much you can spoil there. Although when it comes to this form of review, I do think you need to be mindful of spoilers, particularly when it comes to fiction. Although I have run into some difficulty, I think, when I have talked about particularly manga that I've been reading, that I'm pretty sure I probably spoiled Fairy Tail and Naruto and a lot of the ones that I've read piecemeal. Because I kind of want to do like a deep dive discussion of the book or the story, but in some cases that might necessitate having spoilers, so I'm not entirely sure. So yes, it does limit my ability to discuss sometimes if I'm being mindful about not spoiling anything. And the final prompt is to shout out 5 channels you enjoy and tag them. So I'm going to do my blanket. If you'd like to do this tag, consider yourselves tagged. Anyway, BookTube, thank you, have a great afternoon, and stay safe.